this because we talked about this before. So there's two big issues that we talked about before, and we're going to talk about them again right now. One is the elections are coming up next year. It's going to be a big election, 2024, for presidency. Republicans are heavily running on the anti-trans people stuff, and they're trying to avoid the abortion issue.
Of course they are.
Because but what they don't realize is both these issues make them look bad. And what the Republicans don't understand is the Democrats are going to run on the counter to that, and they're going to run on the economy and what's going on with that. But I want to talk about the trans issue first. Let's start with that. This is Leisha Miller. She's a former attorney or current attorney, I can't remember, but she's got her own show, and she breaks this down really well. We're going to watch a couple clips from her real quick because she breaks down the trans issue really well and why it's an issue.
But this has been a long time coming.
Oh, you remember this woman? Lacey?
No.
This is Anita Bryant.
Oh, geez, okay.
Yeah. She was the one who ran against gay rights. She wanted to make it legal to evict and fire gay people and throw them on the street. That was her whole spiel.
Anita Bryant was once known as an orange juice saleswoman. Not anymore. With a religious fervor that has made her America's most controversial woman overnight, she has been selling her Save Our Children group. Her group is crusading to repeal a new Dade County law which protects homosexuals in jobs and housing. Anita Bryant began her...
See how old this video is? To save homosexuals. The homosexuals. You know those people, Lacey, the people that are coming for your children. The homosexuals.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, that is the word, but it's not the word that gets spattered everywhere. So
no. Yeah, I know a lot of gay people. They're not sexual predators. They aren't. They aren't. I mean, that was the whole point of Harvey Milk, who ran against Anita Bryant's whole campaign. When he ran for office in San Francisco. And he did that whole movement. The movement was literally called Come Out Wherever You Are. And the idea behind it is, look, if they know us, if they realize they know one of us, they vote for us 2-1. Which is true. Absolutely true. If you know somebody who's gay, they're not scary.
You know, knowing somebody who's gay is some of the best medicine for somebody who's terrified of people who are gay. It's sort of, not that much fun to be the gay person that is the antidote to the issue. But I'm thinking about a particular woman in my life that is one of my friend's mothers, and my friend is queer. My friend's a lesbian, and it was a big issue between her and her mother that actually kept my friend from coming out for many, many years. My friend did not come out to her family. She was out to me, but she wasn't out to her family for a very long time. And it caused issues in her personal life because it's hard to become partnered in that situation because nobody wants to be your roommate for the rest of their life,
Right.
So that becomes an issue. Anyway, the situation with her mother, when it got better, was when one of her mother's friends came out to her.
See?
And she realized that her friend, whom had been her friend for decades, was queer, and it forced her to go, oh, but I've been friends with this person for decades, and this person has never been coming for my children, and this person has not come on to me, has not come on to, all of those funny fears that somehow people get in their minds. And she realized, oh, my friend is just my friend, and my friend also happens to be queer. And it did amazing things for my friend's relationship with her mother, and she was finally accepted, and these things and move on. So sometimes really the antidote to the issue is people coming out. But no offense, I really don't want to be the pill either.
No, I understand. Not the same thing, but I worked undercover for a long time, and it's difficult leading a double life, which is why I'm painfully honest now, which sometimes I'm too honest, but it's hard.
Sometimes I'm like, I can shut up.
Yeah, but it's hard when you have to live a lie for a long period of time.
Yeah.
It changes you. It does, and it's really unrelenting and unfair. But let's watch Leisha talk about this, because this is important, I think.
Cited her church, where the congregation believes the new law will force them to hire homosexual teachers.
Anita Bryant was a singer who had a handful of pop hits in the 60s and toured with Bob Hope, performing holiday shows for troops overseas.
She was also Miss America for a while.
Sang at the White House numerous times, and she was the spokeswoman for the Florida Citrus Commission, appearing in commercials for orange juice. She was also a born-again evangelical Christian on a mission to restore good Christian American values in the United States. In 1977, in Dade County, Florida, of all places, the Dade County Commission approved a law that would outlaw discrimination based on sexual orientation in employment, housing, and public services. News of the ordinance spread quickly, especially among the Dade County evangelical churches, of which then 36-year-old Anita Bryant was a member. Specifically, apparently, a police sergeant came and made a presentation to the church members about the dangers of homosexuality and showed them gay and child porn to, I guess, expose the wicked ways of homosexuals.
Yeah, which is such a
so in church they're watching a bunch of child porn, blaming the queer folks for it, so they can further attack a bunch of innocent gay people that just want to have jobs and places to live.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good job, conservatives. Good job.
Well, and you used to live here in Oregon, so you know this. Well, you probably don't know this. The first law that they passed, that was a bill to basically legalize discrimination of homosexuals. So you could fire them, you could evict them, throw them out on the street, with no repercussion, was in Eugene.
Hippie Central.
I
How
know.
crazy is that?
Yeah.
Like Eugene is, listen,
well,
for those of people in America do not know Oregon, Eugene is like the ultimate of like hippie locations in Oregon, man.
University of Oregon, yeah. Very academic, very pot friendly. But yeah,
wow, I did not know that. I'm a little surprised by that. Eugene, Oregon, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oregon was bad, but you realize it was illegal to own a house if you were non-white until 1978 in Oregon, in Portland.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, we've changed a lot over here. Anyway, so the issue comes down to, why is this an issue? Why are the Republicans making this an issue? Why is the trans issue a thing? Why is the gay issue a thing? Right? Why is abortion a thing? And the reason is because it's a wedge issue. It's basically, they're difficult questions, and people get like creeped out, or they have the ick factor about it, right? And that's how they get them to vote for them. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit here. But that's the whole point here.
For ethics violations, Cameron continued to produce bogus studies widely cited by anti-gay groups. Since then, however, as the United States has grown more diverse and more progressive, the bedrock foundation of the religious right has been slowly chipped away. First, it was anti-sodomy laws aimed at making gay sex illegal. Those were officially done away with in the 2003 Supreme Court case Lawrence v. Texas, which was a galvanizing force that became...
I want to qualify this to anti-sodomy laws. That's anti-anal sex. It's also anti-oral sex. So, boys and girls, if you like, you like a little oral sex, Republicans don't want you to have it. No oral sex for you. No blowjobs. All porn, gone. No more porn.
I mean, these are the real issues, people. These are the real issues.
Yeah. This is what's important.
They want to take away your porn. I mean, they don't want to tell you that. They'll talk to you about the gun thing, but they don't want to talk to you about the porn thing. They want to take away your porn.
Yeah, well, sorry to get a little dirty here, but if you like to have your cock sucked or your clit licked, no, can't be done. We're not doing it. No more.
No wonder they're so angry. I'm so sorry.
You fucking nailed that. That was a good point. All right. That was great. Sorry.
Obsolete with the Supreme Court's Obergefell ruling in 2015, legalizing gay marriage nationwide. And while there are still evangelicals who are mad about the gay marriage thing, the vast majority of Americans are in favor of allowing the gays to wed. It no longer has the ability to whip the electorate into a fear-mongered frenzy like it once did. But the religious right still had one thing. They still had abortion. Pictures of tiny fetuses, heartbeats, and fingernails in the womb. These ideas still created a fervor in the religious right, enough to get them to show up to the polls at far greater numbers than any other voting.
And so that's kind of the semi-point here. It's about, can we get the white evangelical uneducated electorate to vote? Because they are still almost 50%. Well, I think they are 50% of the country. If we can get them to vote, right? Because heaven forbid, gay people have sex or fall in love or have lives. Heaven forbid, women get medical treatment that they need. The problem is they've lost on all these issues. As time has gone by, we've progressed, we've gotten better. And just to give you a sense of this, so here is, where do Americans stand on abortion? Okay. Legal abortion. Can you see this? Let me zoom it in. All right, here we go. Legality of abortion, 3 reviews. Legal under any circumstance, 34%. Legal under certain circumstances, 51%. 13 say it should be illegal, whatever, have no opinion. But look at that. That's 85% who think it should be legal in some way or another. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've learned, we've evolved, we've changed. That's the thing that they're missing with this whole fucking argument is time moves forward and we've moved forward as a culture, as a people. Granted, we don't move as fast as the economy or technology or business, but culture does move. It just takes a while. We're not, as sophisticated as we'd like to think we are, but we are sophisticated. we're not idiots. So let's watch a little bit more of this, and I'm gonna hit this with another point.
Quickly. Back in 2016, after the gays were allowed to wed, the religious right was like, what new thing about the gays could we get people whipped up into a voting frenzy about? Well, we've kind of exhausted our options with the L and the G. The B, I don't know, do bisexuals even really exist? They're also sometimes hetero.
I don't know. Lacey,
all right. That one was personal.
All right.
Don't take shots at me. Don't take shots at me. I'm so sick of getting kicked out of every damn club, I can't even tell you.
Do you really exist?
I'm sure that was such a sensitive spot for me, but I kind of want to punch her in the face, even though I probably am with her on the point she's going for. I'm so tired of not getting to be in club hetero, not getting to be in club gay. I'm not hetero enough because I'm not hetero. I'm not gay enough because I'm bisexual, and suddenly I don't get to be in any camp.
You know, I'll cut this portion if you want me to. Just let me know. But I'm going to say this. You know what it is? We're jealous. That's what it is. The rest of us, we got to choose one and go with it. You get to sample the whole buffet cart. It's unfair, Lacey. It's so fucking unfair.
You know what? There really is something to that jealousy thing, though. It's too. It comes up in my dating life. I'm somewhat recently single again, and I've had the realization people don't really know what to make of that because everybody's sort of an option. I mean, that's not how I see it. I'm not attracted to literally everybody.
Right.
But you know what? It does make people feel a little insecure, I've noticed.
Well, we've had that
because everybody's an option.
But we've had that conversation before. I mean, how many times when we were in college did I get hit on by, young gay men, like underwear model kind of men?
Very attractive. You were able to attract some very attractive men. Unfortunately, that wasn't the direction you were oriented. So it didn't pan out as being all that useful for you, but the compliment was phenomenal.
Yeah, but let's be fair. If I were gay, or if I were,
you would so be partnered because you had some great options.
Oh my God. Great options is putting it mildly, Lacey. These guys we're talking about like Hugh Jackman kind of guys. I mean, gorgeous Pierce Brosnan, name Rock Hudson, you name it, hitting on me. It was hurtful. It was hurtful a little bit. It hurt me in my soul.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
They were nice guys.
All right, I suppose we can let her keep talking. She's now offended me, but I'm willing to let her talk.
She was being sarcastic about that. So
yeah, but that sarcasm is only funny because it's like a real thing that happens.
Yeah, well, you're selfish and you get to choose whatever you want off the buffet cart, and so you have to just be happy.
Apparently so.
That's what it is.
All right,
but probably fine. And then what's the next letter? Oh yeah, T. Wow, now T is an interesting option. There have been some national headlines in recent years that had brought trans rights to the forefront in a way that had never happened before. Laverne Cox played a main character role in Orange is the New Black starting in 2013, becoming the first openly trans person to be nominated for an Emmy in an acting category, and later the first to win the award. Chelsea Manning's leak of sensitive documents and transition while going through the legal process made national and international news, and her sentence was commuted by President Obama in 2016. In April 2015, Caitlyn Jenner came out publicly as a trans woman, appearing in a 2020 segment and on the cover of Vanity Fair magazine as the first out trans woman to appear on the cover. So trans visibility was having a moment, and as with any progress, there was, of course, some backlash. But it took the conservatives a bit of time to get it right. They started with bathroom bills. In 2016, again, the main motive to get them to the polls is fear. So they thought, hey, what if we told people that trans women were really just men in disguise as women so they can go into women's bathrooms and attack you? Yeah, that'll get them right.
Yeah, first off, that doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. It's like gnomes doing drive-bys on unicorns on Mars. It's a horrible thing, but it's an imaginary crime. It doesn't occur. Does not occur.
Yeah, like when is the last time you saw a headline where that happened? Because if that happened, there would be crazy headlines about it.
Oh no, Fox News would be running it 24/7. Doesn't happen.
But they're not, because
it doesn't
it's
occur.
not happening.
Yeah. And furthermore, not to be cruel, but gay people don't. They're interested in other gay people who are adults.
Yeah, it's not like a religion where you're like, hey, how many people can we convert? I have been to exactly 0 gay conventions or pride events where they had some great meeting about how we are to convert all the heteros. Nobody's interested in it.
You guys don't do that?
Nah, y'all can just stay over there and do your thing. We're kind of more interested in each other than you guys. We don't care that much about you guys.
I'm a little hurt by that, but okay. I'll survive.
Sorry.
All right.
Up. In 2016, North Carolina legislators voted to bar transgender people from using the bathroom that didn't correspond with their assigned gender at birth. The backlash was swift and harsh from corporations, sports teams, and even Bruce Springsteen, so that lawmakers eventually rescinded the bill. Because bathroom bills are dumb, y'all. Men who want to attack and assault women aren't going to be dissuaded by a law that says you can't enter a woman's bathroom. Like, I'll rape and murder, but going into the wrong bathroom, that's where I draw the line. And people kind of knew that. And the issue, while popular with the fear-mongering Fox News crowd, really didn't get people riled up in the way that conservatives knew needed to happen for them to turn out in droves and vote. So, advocacy groups began polling to determine whether curbing transgender rights had resonance with voters, and if so, how to best talk about the issue. Because again, this has never been about protecting children or about Christian morals. It's always been about power, getting elected and staying elected. And polling found that, in particular, voters were significantly more likely to support a Republican candidate who favored a ban on transgender girls participating in school sports than on transgender people using bathrooms.
And that's the issue. And she finally got to it, and I mean, she did a great job. She hammered that whole thing home. She did a great job on that. So we talked about this last time about trans women in sports. And the interesting thing about it is it's not actually an issue. Sports leagues are generally private corporations, or they're conglomerations of private corporations. And they make their own judgments about how that is, and a lot of it comes down to testosterone, or things like that. It's a chemical thing. It's not quite what they think it is. So let's do this. So here is Gallup on gay rights. All right. And what do we think about that? And what has changed about that? So you look from 96 to almost today. Should same-sex couples be married? Do you see this shift between the green line, yes, and the blue line, no? It's flipped.
Right.
70% of people back in 96 said no. Whatever it was, 27% said yes. It's flipped now. 71% of people say yeah. 28% of people say, well, no. It's changed, right? Our opinions have changed about how all these things work. I think this is important to understand, that it's not what it used to be, right? Let me get out of this for a second. Hang on. But you saw that. That's, what is it going on that's important? Now, the transgender sports issue, that, on the other hand, the Republicans do have a small edge on that issue. And it's kind of a depressing thing to point out, but here it is. So, let me do this. So, more say birth gender should dictate sports participation, blah, blah, blah. All right, so American views on transgender athletes, 2021-2023, able to play teams that match their identity, 34% in 2021, 26% in 2023. And I can go through this whole article, but what it basically shows you is that's happening. Now, here's where it's interesting. American views on transgender athletes by party, blah, blah, blah. I want to get to this other one. Moral acceptability. Okay. Familiarity with transgender persons. The numbers change. Right? People that know somebody who's transgender are more apt to want to let them participate. Now, it's gone down some, but it's still what it is. More people, if they know them, want them to participate and want them to be accepted. It's the whole Harvey Milk thing I brought up before. Come out wherever you are. If they know that, if we know one of you, we're more likely to accept you.
I mean, that honestly, I think that holds weight. If you think back to 1960s civil rights between black and white issues, once white people started having black friends, black neighbors, black colleagues in a workplace, having real human beings that they knew attached to these ideas rather than they're just ideas in their mind, it became way harder to say, no, I don't want you to be able to XYZ, because there was a real person behind that you. It wasn't just like an imaginary you.
Right. I'll give you a great example. So I was taking care of this kid, and I was living near Portland State, and we were in the elevator of my building, and there were two kids living in the building who were black kids, right? Wealthy black kids, because I didn't live in a cheap building. And we were riding down the elevator. They got out. We got out, and the kid said to me, he's like, "Weren't you scared?" And I'm like, "Of what?" He's like, "The black people." And I'm like, "You mean the students?" I said, "What's the worst thing they're going to do? Ask us to edit their papers?"
Right.
Honestly, what are they going to do? But I realized that the kid was scared of black people because he was raised by people, and he was in that situation where he thought black people were going to hurt him, or they were terrifying or something. And so I asked a friend of mine who's a real estate agent who happened to be a black guy, wonderful guy. And I said, "Hey, do you mind if I take you out to lunch? But this is why. I need you to show this kid you're just a regular guy." And like you said, you don't want to be the token that has to prove it, but for some people, that they need that. They have to have that. It's an unfortunate reality, but it is what it is. But the Republicans are running on that, and they're running on it because they are sort of semi-winning. They've sort of changed the scale a little bit where it's in their favor. But it's only on the trans sports issue. That's all they got. So that's what they're running on. So I want to run one more thing real quick, because we covered the Daily Wire. They did the Lady Ballers movie, which is the anti-trans movie. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's Ben Shapiro basically admitting the whole thing is bullshit and we're right. And Ben Shapiro is one of the founders of the Daily Wire. And this is the majority report. This is Sam Cedar and Emma Bicklin.
Is belied by their story of how to develop their movie. And the funny thing is, you can tell like Shapiro's so excited, like he's finally getting his TMZ type spot, and he forgets, like, wait a second, I'm belying the entire premise of 90% of the revenue we've made from the Daily Wire over the past like year and a half.
Idea. So you approached me and you said we should make a fictional film about this topic. Now, to be fair, I think I'd actually suggested to the Grain Boys that they do this as a doc. Yes. I originally went to them and I said, you guys should like go try out for a bunch of ladies' leagues. And that became not possible because, as it turns out, most ladies' leagues don't allow in actual men. And they weren't willing to go the full distance in terms of what it would require in order to, the actual hormone treatments and everything to play in some of the ladies' leagues. But in any case, it turned into this.
Did you catch that? So their whole movie, the whole premise, they've been running this anti-trans shit for like 2 years. I mean, that's the majority of their content. That's where they get a lot of their money from. And the whole premise is, all these women are going to, or all these guys are going to compete in women's sports and just put on a wig. And then he's saying, we tried to do that and we couldn't get any guys to do it because it was too fucking hard. Because you'd actually have to change your hormones and your gender.
Right, because it's not just like a random free-for-all. There's like, regulation kind of surrounding that.
Right.
To make it so it's not just some crazy free-for-all.
Right. So my point is they've made some ground on this issue, but that's because nobody fucking understands it. And the reality is this issue they've made some ground on is stupid. It's incredibly stupid. And we've talked about that. It can't be done. You can't just put on a wig and go compete against a bunch of women. And even if you did, what would be the point? Which was your point last time.
Yeah, well, it seems like a ridiculous point, but what's the point is a really pretty valid point in this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to hammer that home, that this is one of the big issues they're running on. We covered it, we nailed it down, but it's a horrible thing to run on. It's very bigoted, it's very prejudiced, and I was upset by it, so I covered it. We're done. All right. Now,